A big pet peeve of mine, theologically, look at that right there, I've been cutting my grass, is when somebody says that one doesn't really mean one. In Deuteronomy 6:4, like, dude, it means one. Like, it's equivalent really to our English word one. It can be used in the same way as our English word one. So, like, if I tell you I have one car, it means I have one car, not a dozen, not three, not two. If I have two cars and I say I have two cars, it means two cars. But people will try to do this flim-flam where one has to mean more than one, because like one cluster of grapes contains several grapes, or like one family contains a husband, wife, and two kids. So one must somehow mean four in that sense. No, it's still one family. It's not two families, and it's one cluster of grapes. Each one of the grapes singularly is not a cluster, but when you put all the grapes together, it forms one cluster. So cluster and family is the plural word. Okay, so it's one cluster. One doesn't change its meaning when it's used with the word cluster. It would be like me saying, I went to the zoo and I saw one zebra, and you thinking that the word one meant black and white because the zebra's stripes were black and white. The word one can modify a plural noun or a collective noun. That's fine. Individual pieces can form to make one thing. It doesn't change the meaning of the word one. Like in Exodus 24:3, when all the multiple people together proclaimed with one voice, it was many different people speaking in unison, agreeing to the words of the covenant. So it was as though one person was speaking, one voice, even though it was multiple people. It doesn't change the meaning of the word one. It's so crazy. It's the only number people try to do it with. They don't do it with two. Like if I said all the people spoke as though it were two voices, you wouldn't think that two meant like 24. Or if I said, two people came to visit me, you wouldn't say, well, it was actually 8, because if you count all their arms and legs up, it equals 8. So 2 means 8. That's ridiculous. It's foolish. Deuteronomy 17, I think it's verse 6, might be the best example of this, where the NRSV translates it as only one witness. Like, you can't put a man to death out of the mouth of only one witness. So the word there is just echad, but the NRSV recognizes it's a single witness. So there are times when the word one modifies a collective noun, when the word one is used of parts coming together to form one particular thing, like Genesis 2:24, the husband and wife become Besor Echad, one flesh. I think that's referring to actually a single child that comes because of the union between male and female. But I have no problem with one being used in the sense of unity, where parts come together to form one particular thing. But that definitely wouldn't be the doctrine of the Trinity, which is where this whole flim-flam gets started, where people try to say one doesn't mean one. Anybody that tries to tell you that the word one doesn't really mean one, you need to just hold their feet to the fire and say, what kind of bizarro world do you live in? If I tell you I have one wife, it don't mean I got 3 women behind the curtain.